Morning and happy Taco Tuesday to everybody. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. It's your duty to do your own due diligence. And let's get things rocking and rolling. We have our word of the day. Let me just bring that up. Share the screen. Funambulist. A tightrope walker. Excellent core strength is necessary for the balance displayed by a funambulist. So there we go. That's our word of the day. Let's move on to see where heat map is probably not much of a heat map today with the markets selling off, but we'll take a look. Let's refresh this, just make sure we're looking at the right day. And we got a sea of red here. The bond yields have jumped, so we'll take a look at those in a moment. But as you can see, Meta is up slightly. I think Meta and Microsoft got price targets raised by some analysts. Eli Lilly is bouncing after a pullback. Some of energy are moving up. GE is moving up. So that's kind of the ugly details there. Don't want to worry about things going down. All you need to do is look at this right here. This annuity will never lose money. Goes up, and goes up. Beats index investing by about 5%. Currently, a lot of the annuities that we offer go up, have a bonus of 30 to 45%. So if you want to learn more about that, please send something in the comment area. So that is that. And let's go to our screens. Take a look. Trump media is bouncing back after a big sell-off yesterday. It was up 7% earlier. Pulling back a tiny bit. Look a lot at the US dollar index. Dollar index is pulling back actually today. Silver, big jump in silver on that. Is breaking out, definitely. Remember what I said on pullbacks, it's good to buy. And this, how much higher will it go? It's kind of up to you. Could possibly sell here. This is definitely a new high. Look at this all the way across here. Gold just keeps on streaking higher. Up 210. Take a look at our copper. Copper is moving higher as well. New breakout there. Southern Copper is moving higher. Freeport McMoran moving higher as well. Tech, who we just looked at yesterday. Tech pulled back yesterday after, I guess it was right about there when we aired yesterday, but it is moving up today, up 0.45%. Vale in Brazil is bouncing a little bit. BHP Australia It is now moving above its 50-day moving average, up over 1%, and Rio is up as well. On the Bitcoin area, it is pulling back, second day of a big gap down. Must have been some selling in this for some reason. Definitely two big gaps down. Something to look at. Bitty is a way to hedge your portfolio. Got two gaps up in a row. This is shorting Bitcoin. Ethereum gapping down as well under its 50-day moving average. So there we have a look at that. Let's take a look at our bond yields. Bond yields gap up. They did pull back a little bit from where they were. That's at 4.36. People are worried that the Federal Reserve will take off some of the rate reductions. So that's what people are looking at. And it's the highest level in 2024. 20-year yield gapping up as well. Now it's resting on its 200-day. We're at 3.47% on the 20-year. I imagine the VIX is popping. The VIX is definitely popped. 1588 was our near-term target. So it got to 1543 today. So we got that gap up. Eventually, this is going to pull back and fill that gap as it's an oscillating index. We're not really sure when that'll happen. Big mover today down was IWM. We got a gap down after yesterday's move down. Excuse me, it's a little over 2% down. Dow Jones, big mover down as well, down 1.16%, gapping down below its 20-day moving average. The NASDAQ down a little over 1%. The equal weight, wow, look at that, down 1.3%, falling to its 50-day moving average. S&P 500 falling, gapping down to its 20-day, where it bounced off 0.82%. And our equal weight in the S&P, removing the big cap tech, gapping down, and it is on its low for the day. It's at 1.06% loss. So everything is readjusting. Let us take a look at what is happening. What's up 3% on 50% increase in volume. Two issues. Our big oil stock called Weatherford, which is up almost 4% on 101% increase in volume, getting pretty close to our $125 short on the calls. So we'll see how that goes. And trip.com is just roaring higher. The earnings came in at 411%, and not quite a double bottom here, but it is jumping out of that buy area, that's for sure. And what is up 5%, 100% increase in volume. Alarm Technologies, a big, huge volume spike. ChampionX, which got a buyout offer from SLB. It is up big time today, up a little over 8%. Let's take a look what SLB is doing. Selling off a little bit here on that buyout offer. We have 8 items moving up. Establishment Labs moving up slightly, a little over 5%. Pretty good volume. Exact Sciences moving up. I'll try to move this, but then we don't see the volume. Flex Steel Industries. So it has broken out here, had a little bit of consolidation over here, then it broke out over here. Consolidated a little bit, pulled back below their 20-day moving average, and then it's just been moving up. So I would say the buy area would have been, if you're looking to buy here, would have been 38.08. Right now it's a little past that area. Max Linear in the semiconductor area, looking to have a bottoming base, try to move up here, pull back again. Earnings are in 22 days. I would say it needs to get to 2172 before, but I guess you could look at that as crossing the 50-day. And it is definitely above this line here. Or if you wanted to create another line, that's kind of mess things up. Let me just clear that. You could go right over these tops. So you could trudge in with a smaller position here. And if it continues up, add to that position. Montrose Environmental was IPO in 2020. It has gotten pretty volatile, but it looks like it's breaking out of that area today. 42.82 would have been the breakout. It's at 43.25, up a little over 9%. And let us go to what's up, 10% on 200% increase in volume. We got nothing. So that is a look there. And then we have another screen I just wanted to show you. P&F modeling came up with the top stocks. Let me see if I have that up here. Here's the models. Let me just share that. So in the NASDAQ, they're picked for the top 5 stocks are Constellation Energy, Meta Platforms, NVIDIA, and they added DoorDash and Micron Technologies. So we looked at Micron Technologies yesterday. So we'll add that to what we're looking at. See if we can bring that up on the chart a little later. In their top 5 S&P 500 stocks, Dell has been added to Vertiv, Coinbase, CrowdStrike, and NVIDIA. and the Russell. Installed building products, Griffin, Elf Beauty, Saya in the shipping area, and advanced drainage. The magic formula, the top 5 picks, our house, Collegium Pharmaceuticals, Crocs, and shoes, and Spiro Therapeutics, and not to be outdone, but Gulfport Energy. Not sure if that's an O or a D, but not much change in the AI top 5 stocks. Super micro, maybe these bottom models, maybe I stretched it too. Yeah, it just doesn't show what is here in the bottom. Let's see if I can bring that up in a different way. It just doesn't let me do it in that way. See if I can download this. Oh, it's not going to let me download it, but so I guess we're not going to be able to see the bottom one unless I come down here. Yeah, so looks like they've added CyberArk software and NVIDIA to the AI type top. The PDP top 5, they added Coinbase and NVIDIA. So we were able to bring that up. And so maybe that is the bottom. It looks like there's supposed to be something else there, but it's just not allowing us to see that. Sorry about that. So on yield and momentum, I believe that is, they've added Marathon Petroleum and Simon Properties. On the magic formula, Janus International Group, Garrett Motion, and Crocs have been added. So let's go back to our charts. Just see if we can bring up a couple of these anyway. I had a couple of others that I wanted to look at today. These companies are in bases. Badger Meter has kind of fallen today. Long cup with handle base. $150.87. Needs to get above 164.81 for a breakout. Volume is pretty low on this pullback here, which you want to see. On a breakout, this is kind of the volume that you'd like to see. May not come on the first day, but may come on the second day. So that's Badger Meter. See what are some of the companies we watched yesterday. Interesting, on a down day on the small cap. Got a lot of buying on shift for payments, kind of bouncing off the 200-day moving average. The volume is higher today than on the sell-off yesterday. Post, just kind of look at the companies that this is a restaurant stock pulling back a little bit. Volume's pretty low, which you'd like to see. It is pulling back into the buy area. And Square or Block sold off on the bond yield, and it is trying to get back to that little blue shaded buy area. Still above. All right, gapped up. Actually, this is a pullback on the gap up. So I guess this would be your line in the sand you want to keep. We'll just continue to watch it. It's pretty close to where it had gapped up to. TJ companies in a base, in this kind of base here, tried to break out, moved up to 102, and now it's pulled back, and we'll just have to maybe put this in a new box area. So I need to get above this area right now. Been a lot of selling right over here as it pulled back. Now the selling has kind of dropped off, which is what you want to see. Republic Services, waste management area, pulling back to its 10-day moving average. Looks a little stretched right here, but maybe just draw a box right here. It's kind of the area you want to see it break out. So these are the added stocks to the format that we were just looking at. Dell Technologies gapped up, undercut the gap, and now it looks like it's trying to get back to this area. So this would be the box area you'd want to draw. So it's kind of in a flat base right now. DoorDash. It's kind of extended here. Maybe trying to find a base here. I'll just draw the box right about here. Right now it's just on a watch list. The volume is kind of receding. Looked at Micron yesterday, had a big gap up. Says with AI technology, we're going to see more growth. Pretty extended right now. I just put that on a watch list. See if we can set up a base. Saya. Guess we go back to here. It's just kind of basing. Just put on a watch list. Advanced drainage systems. Kind of broke out here on earnings. And it's just been kind of basing ever since. Kind of broke out over here. Got to the profit area. pulling back today on the bond yield news. Pulled back to its 20-day moving average. So I just put that, continue to watch that. Our house as a retailer with 81 showrooms, 3 outlet stores across 29 states. Their earnings were down 35% from the previous year's quarter. Right now, I think they're just in a basing pattern. Just kind of bouncing within this base. I'd some pretty good volume yesterday, 2 days in a row, Friday and yesterday. A little bit of a pullback here. Collegian Pharmaceutical. Yeah, this is pretty strong. This was the base here, or flat base or box formation. Pull back to 31.34 and then just lifted off. On earnings, earnings were up 45% year over year, quarter. And you can see all these blue bars. It just kept moving on up. And the trend is up. It's pulled back on Friday. Bounced a little yesterday, and it's just kind of flat with that bounce from yesterday after the 20-day moving average. It pulled back on the start today, and now it's bounced off of that 20-day moving average. Crocs. Broke out right over here, right on earnings. And this is the profit area. Needs to set up a new base. It's really too extended at the moment. Volume on selling is pretty low. Sparrow Therapeutics. Wow, I'm surprised they put this on the list. Looks like a penny stock, but it's just kind of in a base right now, flat base. Did break out of this earlier base, so it's kind of like a base on base. Just kind of watch this, see if any volume comes in. Earnings did jump 75%, up to 96 cents. So that is Sparrow. Gulfport Energy. So we got a double bottom base right here. As you break out, pulls back. And then now it is broke out right over here. Pretty good volume right before earnings. Earnings came in and right around 60% increase. It was pretty flat on the day of earnings, and the next day it jumped up and pulled back, and it continues to trend. So let's take a look at some of our leading ETFs. Financials, pulling back to the 10-day moving average. Energy should be moving up, which it is, and it broke out here, continues up. Oil index breaking out of the blue area, and our triple hedged got a pretty good move today, up 2.16. See how that compares to, well, and just it's not moving as much as you'd like for a triple hedged one, but it is moving slightly more than the regular oil index. Real estate, I would imagine, be pulling back, gapping down on the bond yield move. Take a look at home builders doing about the same, pulling back to their 20-day moving average. We'll see if it sets up another base, gives you an opportunity to get in one of these. Pretty flat on the communications. Google and Facebook are the biggest contributors. Google is down and Facebook is up. So it is up 0.5, down 0.57% today. Biotech, big drop in biotech today. But look at this one that we had been watching. Shovel legs down. This is Greenwich Life Sciences, pulled back to the 20-day and is bouncing. Really broke out over here. We added right around here in the middle of the like 1550. This was one we had profiled last year. We sold right in this area here, tried to bounce up, pull back quite a bit, recovered, and now it's pulling back again. So we'll continue to watch that one. Get back to our list here. The other biotech is falling pretty sharply as well, 2.26%. Our software is gapping down, trying to fight back here. Technology pulls back to the 20-day, or actually 50-day moving average. Infrastructure pulling back to the 10-day. Semiconductors pull back to the 20-day and is bouncing back to the 10-day, off 1.44%. Airlines pulling back to the 10-20-day moving average. Big gap down. 2 sharp down days in a row. Leisure activities out of the office gapping down as well, down to the 20-day. Industrials falls to the 10-day. Healthcare sector, wow, look at that big gap down. Down about 1.8%, 2 days in a row. Consumer staples slices through the 20-day moving average. Building materials falls to the 10-day. Mining and metals is holding pretty steady, as we saw the gold, copper, and silver complex moving on up. I believe steel probably would be falling. So that's a wrap up there. Let's just take a look. So this is a little cup formation. So the buy point would be 179.39. Earnings came in at negative 31% year over quarter. And then it just moves on up. And look at this volume. Now we had a high volume the next day, but it really didn't move too far. Pull back here to its 10-day moving average, and it bounces, pulls back to the 20-day, and here it bounces again. It's been kind of volatile, this issue in Nucor. Steel Dynamics. Very similar, kind of sold off here. And then on the started building the right side of the base. You can see this huge volume right here. This is possibly a early entry. As it just draw a line over these declining tops here. This would be a good day to put your buy on. It did pull back, but it really pulled back to this line over where you draw the line right here. And then it just kind of takes off. It did pull back here again, try to see if they could shake out some people. And it just kept on moving up. That would have been a nice profitable trade. Let's take a look at Elf Beauty. Pulls back to its 50-day moving average right now, 183.83. We go back in history. This is earnings up 9%, earnings down 19%. This is excuse me, a cup base where it breaks out. Where did we put this on? We put this on right over in this area here, right at 122. It sold off, told everybody felt like this was going to move higher. The analyst for this was really pounding the table, felt it was at least worth $150 or more. So we bought it, and 2 days later, as an actual breakout, I guess it's a couple weeks later, actual breakout. So this is 4-2. See if we can go take a look back here. Let's move this to 2-2 and see what we come up with. Yeah, this tight area. This is the area that I really liked here. So put on 4 options at 122. And then right after that, it just trended higher. I believe, yeah, just came out here and then it broke out higher here as all the volume really came into the stock. You can see all this blue volume starting to come in. Once institutions start buying over here, it takes them a while to finish their purchase, maybe 18 months. And it just keeps going on up. It did, let me just put this back on today. Did reach a high of 221. Right over here, we shorted at, I believe it was 250. So looks like we should be able to keep that money that we shorted it. We had took profits right around here on 100 shares and put that short on the calls right over in this area. So that's the story with Elf Beauty. Take a look at what MicroStrategy is doing today. Had a little bit of a sell-off. It's now bouncing off of the 20-day moving average. we'll just kind of continue to watch that and see what Bitcoin is to do. Here's Meta. We were talking about Meta when it was right around this area, how every time it pulled back under 300, there was a big investor coming in to buy it. Said if the bond yield dropped off at all, felt this was going to really rocket higher. Went up to 330, pulled back again to 279, and moved up to 342.92, pulled back to 313, and just kept on trending. And then on earnings, just rocketed higher, and it's been trending higher every day. So when it got over in this area, we did put on, I believe it was 525 short on the call options, covered calls, make a little more money while we think this is going to go into a base. NVIDIA pulled back a little bit, bouncing off its 20-day moving average. Celsius, we're going to watch this a little more closer. Yeah, it's pulling back pretty strong here. We did put a covered call at 100. We'll see how much more action we want to let this go. It's down a little over 4% today. We did buy it at 55 or 57 and 67. So some of the ones that we bought at 67, I'm going to have a little tighter leash on. ARM, kind of bouncing around. We'll continue to watch this, see how this trades. Pretty much looks like a high tide flag. The flag area, flagpole. And now that's the flag banner. SMCI, another high tide flag. It's had several. This has gone from 70 to about 1,000. As we can see, we've got all these institutional ants buying in here and here. I didn't finish drawing the pole here. Let me just refresh this. Seems like, here we go. Finally refreshing. So we just go from here. Here's the flagpole. And here's the flag banner. Right here, so just continue to watch super microcomputer. And here we go with app. Bought app at 45 with call options. gapped up on earnings. And it's just trending higher. It is right now pulled back a little bit to the 10-day. Tried to push it a little lower, but it's really riding this 10-day right along here. So that's kind of a look at what we're trading right now. Not doing anything. We are kind of curious about 4 though. We may put on call spread on 4. If we put one on, I think we'd put it on at either 65 to 75 or 70 to 80 with a 2-month window. So we'll check back with you tomorrow, see if we got into that. I think I definitely will be putting that on after we close the show. So that's our show for today. This has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Hope you have a great day, and we'll check in with you on Wednesday. Hope everybody has a great day. Keep working on your goals and your activities. And as always, if you have any financial goals or activities you'd like to discuss, please feel free to send us a comment. In the meantime, have a great Taco Tuesday.